I spent my first 5 years losing myself to my midheaven, getting sucked dry by other people's opinions of me that weren't even true. And then when I came back, being like, no, I'm not going up there. Like, you can't make me. This isn't me up there. I am down here. And then trying to figure out why nobody gave a fuck. I just want to have fun with you guys again like we used to. Can we bring like 2015 back? Because 2015 was fun as shit. This is going to be the greatest midheaven series that you've ever seen. And I'm not lying about that. Branding My Midheaven, a 9-year astrology experiment by Alyssa Sharpe. Hi guys, it's Alyssa Sharpe and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to make this video because this video is really just a introduction to a new series that I'm going to be doing on my channel about branding yourself at your midheaven. And I thought that before I get into the video, I would tell you that I am indeed going by Alyssa Sharpe again. Well, everything is back to the way it was. Now, all of my socials are the Divine Venus. You can get to YouTube through the Divine Venus, but Alyssa Sharpe is now my name, just as you've always known me as. So for everybody who's had a really hard time not knowing me as Alyssa Sharpe or seeing me as a completely different person since I took on my real name, this is for you. I wanted to do this video because there's a few things that I've been going through. Besides just having, you know, a lot of deja vu and nostalgia during this time of like the astrology transits are wild. I don't know if you guys have all been experiencing this deja vu nostalgic drive, but I've been having so much of it. And I've been going back in time to when I quit YouTube. And when I say I quit YouTube, I mean I quit everything. Like, I blacked out my thumbnails. There was 2 weeks I actually just got rid of my channel altogether, deleted my Sharpe Instagram, my Sharpe Twitter. I can never get that Twitter, the Instagram back. I folded on my company, basically. I ended it. Like, I was like, this is done. When I came back, I experimented with branding myself at my midheaven. You see, when I started my channel, I put zero thought. I can't even explain to you how little thought I put into my brand on the internet. And over the time, as my channel got bigger and people were subscribing to me more, that got away with me. A lot of times people will say to you, you know, you're not cows, you don't need to brand yourself. But the truth is that if you're on social media and you put your name onto there, like, you branded yourself. Also, it's really important to brand yourself and not have other people brand you, because what I experienced was that I went out, I was like, I'm Alyssa Sharpe, and everybody else created the rest of my brand. I literally had no control over any piece of what I was putting out. It belonged to the world, because the midheaven is where we meet the world, whether we like to or not. And I learned when I shut everything down that if I was ever to come back, I would be more authentically me. I would be more in control of my brand, and that same shit would not happen again. And when I came back, I came back with a very intense understanding of what my brand was. I was patient. I started branding myself a year before I even put out videos on the internet. It was 2018. Yeah, in 2018, I started my Instagram up and I started putting pictures and aesthetic in ways that I felt I was really connected to. And it was 2019 when I really started making YouTube. There's been so many things that have happened. So I want you guys to know that I am making a new series. It's gonna be really exciting, all on branding yourself at your midheaven. This is a series because one of the things that I hated when I came back to YouTube in 2019 after like a 2-year hiatus was that YouTube videos were long. Like, you could upload 2 hours. I loved pouring over one aspect and delivering that aspect to you. Now, I felt bad about it because it would make each video take so long, and some people would be waiting 2 months for their video. And I always felt awful about that. So when I came back, I was like, oh, I can put every aspect into one video. And I think that my content suffered from that. I couldn't go as in depth. I lost my passion for it and it was exhausting. So I definitely like have, with the nostalgia and everything, gone back to the beginning and been like, what worked with my channel before? Because I want to do that again. I want to give you guys what works. And so I'm going to be making a midheaven series. I've already made one. This is a new one where I am basically going to be going more in depth on colors, aesthetic, names, numerology, and the understanding of the sign at every person's midheaven, so that you can present yourself better to the world, so that you can brand yourself with total awareness, so that your brand and your reputation, because the reputation falls in the midheaven, does not get taken from you. People who are not in control of their midheaven get canceled, they get destroyed, they get anxious, they have people saying so many things about them that aren't true, and I've been there. I know a lot about all of this energy. I know why it's important, and I've been studying the shit out of it. Really kind of compiled a lot of information on about 5 midheavens now, which is another reason why I want to do a series, because as I get the information out, I can move through each sign and really focus on each sign and give you guys exactly what you need, and possibly give you guys like 20-minute videos for each one. I'm like so excited. I've tried to make this video 100 times and I'm getting sweaty because I had to turn my air conditioner off to talk about it. My branding in 2 parts. Part 1, 5 reasons I quit astrology in 2017, and part 2, what I did wrong from 2018 to 2021. This video though, I do want to get into a little bit what I learned through experimenting at my own midheaven and through my own chart and with my own authenticity. So we're going to talk about that. Hopefully this doesn't take that long. I don't want to bore you, and I really don't want to make this like emotional or anything, because to me, when we're talking about the midheaven, we want to get into like fun, excitement, and that's also a place where I want to take my channel from now on. I don't want my channel to be about the community or what everybody else is doing or anything like that. I just want to have fun with you guys again, like we used to back in the day. Is that like, can we bring like 2015 back? Because 2015 was fun as shit. I loved it. I think you guys all loved it. We had a good time, but this time we're coming with more knowledge and more fun. Back in 2015, I don't think I really had a full handle on the internet, realistically. Like I knew a lot about it, but not in the way that it has evolved. And now I see that we need understanding of our reputation so much more now than we ever have. Part 1, 5 reasons I quit astrology in 2017. Spoiler, I had no control over my brand, career, or life. First off, I want to tell you, just because if you haven't been around a long time or if you missed this, about like 5 reasons why I quit astrology in 2017. These have to do with branding myself and the things that happened to me because I was not aware of branding myself. Now, I did a lot of things very good. I didn't even realize, but I did. Because I was so unaware of it, there are a couple things, like my name, Alyssa Sharpe. It was the perfect name, and it's always been the perfect name for me on a public scale. It defines me in a way that the name I was born as and the name I married into just can't. So that's one thing. Another thing was the series and the fun that I had and just kind of like the carefree attitude I had. I loved that. When shit started getting real, I hated it, and I don't think there's any reason why shit has to get real. Like, I have a job as a professional astrologer. Giving you guys videos should be fun, and it should be informative and enlightened, and I'm excited, okay? So, what are the 5 reasons why I quit astrology? 1, the misogyny. I could not go a day without reading a comment or seeing somebody else's video describing the fact that I was stupid and the only reason people followed me was because I had my tits out. Like, those words verbatim, basically. I hated trying to have to prove my intelligence all the time, and I didn't have to prove my intelligence, but my body of work was just not, it was getting more and more simple, I think, towards the end, because I wanted to maintain fun, and I didn't want people to like analyze my intelligence, being called stupid was something that on a very emotional level, I have Gemini, Chiron and Gemini, was very much like the one thing that you could kill me with. So seeing that was like getting executed on the daily. Also, like the fact that people even began to think that the reason why I was big on YouTube was because I was a female is so stupid. It is not, it at the time and now, like, it's not easier to get ahead because you're a female. I don't know who made that shit up, but that was what men put on me all the time. If Alyssa was a man, no one would care. I'm like, are you kidding me? Good for feminism then, I guess, that I exist here, right? Because I'm proving everybody wrong. All this stuff about men is not true. No, because Alyssa Sharpe is only famous as an astrologer because she's a woman. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, okay, that's funny now. Funny, it's hilarious. The next thing, I started to disbelieve in astrology. I have a belief, like I'm a Pisces rising, I'm a Sagittarius midheaven, and personally, I was kind of falling away from really getting why astrology was so big. I think that the more any of you guys or anybody gets into astrology, the more they start realizing that they need something else. And astrology is not the end all be all. It's a map, but it's not it. And I don't want to be inauthentic and show you guys something that I don't actually believe in. I always believed in astrology until up to this point I just didn't believe. I couldn't go on like talking to people like it was it when I was feeling like I was missing something. So a lot of the moments that I wasn't on YouTube, and that was between 2017 and 2019. For about 2 years, I wasn't really on YouTube. I would give weird videos that everybody thought that I went through some religious conversion, which I didn't. I was trying to find the truth, you know? And so I would put out videos when I felt like I found something, and those weren't really taken well by people. People don't want my belief. We'll get into that in a second. Number 3 was just the community. There was so much gossip and people loved bringing other people down. I hated it. I didn't understand realistically why people could like pick and choose these things to just like think that I was the worst person alive with, and like how other people in the community who didn't know me would just like add on to it when I'd be like, you literally just copied my last video and now you're talking about how much I suck. It was like it was like high school all over again, and I didn't like it, especially people who just wanted to act like they were higher and mightier than everybody. When people are attacking you for things that aren't true, and there's a lot of gossip going around about you, and you're reading Lipstick Alley and Reddit and astrology stuff and Goodman's forum, you're bombarded, and I like, okay, I'm not going to read any of this stuff. And I did a good job for 5 years, like really trying not to engage with the shit about me, but it came to a head because I started to like be unable to see the good stuff. It just kind of meant that I wasn't really prepared for the level of, you know, the little bit of fame that I got in this corner of the world. I just wasn't ready for it. For having babies, it takes a lot out of you. I was running my own business and I couldn't grow at the rate that other astrologers were growing at, especially the men, because I was pregnant twice. I was breastfeeding. My husband worked. My job was supplemental to him. Actually, and that was like the last thing, basically. Having babies versus not making money. And YouTube was not making any money. Like the most money I ever made in 1 month for those 5 years was $600. And then all of a sudden, it just was gone. They had the adpocalypse they talk about. Like I started making $100. And so it didn't matter that I was going up in views and subscribers, I was making shit. I was trying to make videos and it wasn't sustainable. For 5 years, I was waiting for that big break and I didn't get it. I still haven't gotten it. You know, it's been 9 years. I still cannot afford anything based off of what YouTube gives me because I never got big enough. And that's just the thing. Like your money, making money on YouTube relies on your views. And so that is a frustrating thing if your views can't get out, or if YouTube doesn't like you, or the algorithm doesn't like you, if you're shadow banned or whatever, you know, it kind of just sucks. Like I was getting fame, but I wasn't getting any payout and felt like exploitation for free at this point. That was something that weighing out doing this when I had 2 kids to raise was really, really difficult. Like I was exhausted. I was so tired, and I just didn't feel like I was allowed to take a break or anything. So I burned it all to the ground. Part 2, coming back to YouTube with full control over my brand and doing it wrong. So when I came back to YouTube, this is where it gets good. I came back to YouTube knowing that I was going to be in control of the type of videos, my branding, etc. Branding my name. I came back as Alyssa Trahan, that is my legal name. Immediately when I made like 1 video, I got a cease and desist from a singer who also would go by Alyssa Trahan, and they trademarked my name. Now the cease and desist was harassment, I mean, from my perspective. And instead of coming to me to talk to me about it, they just cease and desist, and then I had to look into it more, and the trademark wasn't gonna go through for like almost a year, and I had time to oppose it. So I assumed that I was gonna like just kind of put it off and be able to oppose it. So I kept going by Alyssa Trahan until I realized that I couldn't. There was nothing I could really do to oppose it unless I wanted to get into a big legal battle and spend a lot of money. And that like broke my heart a lot, because as soon as I quit YouTube, I cut out Alyssa Sharpe. I cut out my heart and I said, here guys, my real name's Alyssa Trahan. From now on, I am this. And so when I came back, I was like, I'm Alyssa Trahan. Here's something that I learned about this, which I will talk about more in the Sagittarius Midheaven video. But I have a Sagittarius Midheaven. Sagittarius is the archer, the bow and arrow. I see it's ruled by Jupiter, and it's the 9th sign. So all of these things I needed to take into consideration. Alyssa Trahan is a 4, and it is ruled by Rahu, which is with my moon. I have Rahu moon in my chart. So I've made a lot of Rahu videos. Rahu's really important to me, the North Node. Alyssa Trahan was emotional to me. It just was. It was related to me. It was who I wanted to be, because it was about my husband. It was his name. He accepted me. It was my children. My moon was attached. Like, it was so important to me to be Alyssa Trahan. And so I wanted to fight for it, and I did for a little while, and then I lost it. And when I did, I was told to go back to Alyssa Sharpe, but I couldn't. Like, I was just more emotionally damaged than anything, and I kind of needed a savior. For some reason, the Divine Venus was just available. Like, all socials. Like, and that was something too. Alyssa Sharpe was no longer available to me on any of the socials. There's other people with the name Alyssa Sharpe, and they picked up those socials as soon as I dropped them. And so coming back and being like, oh, I had the Alyssa Sharpe domain, I had the Twitter, the Instagram, the Facebook, like I was Alyssa Sharpe everywhere, and all of a sudden not to have it felt like, it just was like, okay, there's a reason. I'm not supposed to go back. I should just keep moving forward. And that's what I was in my head. So I went to the Divine Venus, and I have enjoyed certain aspects of the Divine Venus, but the problem is with the Divine Venus, it is a 6 name. 6 is ruled by Venus. It's also Virgo. My Venus is in Virgo in the 6th house. So something fun. It just kind of seemed to fit. But ultimately, it was very authentic to me, but it wasn't authentic to my midheaven. And so I thought both those would work. I thought because they were so personal to me, they were more authentic, they were more me, that things would work with it. And guess what? The world didn't want that from me, because the world is my midheaven. And I'm not saying that the Alyssa or the Divine Venus didn't totally work. I think it worked better than Alyssa Trahan. However, I would stare at the fact that I was just Alyssa, the Divine Venus, or that people would call me Venus or Divine Venus. It felt fucking weird. Like, it's the weirdest shit. Some people can really be okay calling themselves like after a planet, and if my name was really after a planet, that would be something. But I kept seeing Alyssa, no last name, Alyssa, no last name. And I thought about my future of like what I'm gonna be doing. When I went on TikTok, people were like, are you Alyssa Sharpe? Because they had to ask me, because my name wasn't there, and it was just a pain in the ass. And I felt like I was running myself into a wall, trying so hard to keep moving forward, and that there are some things that maybe I was supposed to have. So Alyssa Sharpe, sharp like an arrow, Sagittarius. It is a 9 name. Now 9 is ruled by Mars, but Sagittarius is the 9th sign. Alyssa Sharpe fits my Sagittarius midheaven, and it always did. I was running away from that because I wanted pure authenticity, but the truth is that from your perspective, Alyssa Sharpe is more authentic. And I have no control over that really. It's more about me just embracing the fact that instinctually I knew that a long time ago. But when I was putting that on the forefront and like had control over something, I was failing at it, because sometimes you just gotta go with your feelings and your gut. But now I'm hyper aware of this. So this is gonna be something that I do talk about within each midheaven video, like the numbers and the signs and like all that, which go better with your midheaven. Changing my aesthetic and style. Another thing that happened with branding myself at my midheaven incorrectly was my aesthetic. Now this is okay. Now I have this light. Sagittarius energy is more vibrant, it's fire, and it's not so earthy and grounded. My desire and the things that I love are flowers. Like I legit go on walks and I take pictures of flowers and I like the way that they look and I just want to sit in flowers. And you know, like my system rose line is just based on flowers, and my moon is in Taurus. And a lot of this that I have going on, but the soft pink, the dark green, all that are very Taurus. And on my Instagram, I thought it looked beautiful, but it didn't look authentic to a lot of people. In fact, I did get a comment that said, "Listen, as soon as you've been like posting photos more in line with your, midheaven, it just felt so much more authenticity coming from you." And I was like, that is so crazy, because for me, it's not more authentic, and it's not even necessarily something I'm totally into. I'm drawn to certain things. Like I'm drawn to this light a little bit, right? And I know I need to utilize it better, but I'm not like 100% into it. Okay. And my hair, I got purple hair and it just felt like something I needed to do. And then all of a sudden, once I got purple hair, my TikTok started blowing up, because purple is a very strong Sagittarius color. And I didn't really realize. So my entire website is like millennial pink and based off the Beverly Hills Hotel, because that's what I'm in love with, as like a Libra Taurus energy. And none of that is Sagittarius. And so understanding that has like really put me in my life into perspective, like what aesthetic should I be going for, like in my brand? And I think that shit's fun. For me, it's really fun. Some people are like, oh, it's so shallow. Fuck, then go away and don't even get online. Like, why are you even online if you think it's shallow? Because it is shallow. It's your midheaven. It's up here. My loss of power. What we can gather from this is that I spent my first 5 years losing myself to my midheaven, getting sucked dry by other people's opinions of me that weren't even true. And then when I came back, being like, no, I'm not going up there. Like, you can't make me. This isn't me up there. I am down here. And then trying to figure out why nobody gave a fuck. Why I wasn't allowed back in to the castle that I built. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I was the only one who built it, but like, there are a few of us. And I was definitely the first person to do astrology the way that I'm doing it and the way that is popular now. There's no one else doing it like that before me. I really felt like, hey, okay, you guys will let me back in. And people were like,
what? Who the fuck are you? You're dead. You're a has-been. You want people's clout.
And I would be like, oh my God, I just want my clout. I don't want your clout. I don't care about your clout. I just want what was mine, because I thought I could just easily walk back into what I had, and you can't. The internet doesn't let you do that. People don't let you do that. They start to stand out guard, be like, Alyssa left, don't let her back in unless she proves herself worthy. So I was mad about that, and my emotional reactions were very true and real to me, but they definitely looked insane on my midheaven. And I had a few emotional reactions. I had a lot. I don't regret emotionally reacting to a lot of things. And in fact, like, I called out Natalia Taylor on my Instagram story, and we met, and I love her. She's amazing. She's so nice. I love her friend Sierra, and her manager. Like, there's a lot of really cool people that I met through my emotional reactions, and you can't see that online, and it might look weird online, but authentically, that was a true story that happened while I was my true self. I met true people who were their true selves, and we had a fun time, but that's not necessarily projected to my midheaven. And from everybody else's point of view, I think I give people anxiety. I no longer had anxiety. I had so much anxiety for 5 years not being in control of my midheaven, but doing things that were just kind of me gave me so much freedom, so much love for myself, but they scared other people. And I think it's time for a good balance. Now, there are a lot of examples of celebrities that have done this, okay? There's a couple of them right now. They both have Leo midheavens. Katy Perry and Lana Del Rey. They both were really good at creating an image for themselves with their Leo midheaven, and both of them are Scorpio risings. And at different times in their life, they have completely rejected this Leo, like creative, like entertainer energy they put up here to be like, no, this is who I truly am. And people are like, shut up. It's crazy because you're like, no, we should value people for who they are. But your midheaven is where the world meets you, not where you're truly you. It is truly you. It's a one piece of you. It's one piece of your puzzle that some people relate to more than others, but it's not the whole you. And that's okay. And there's protection in the fact that it's not the whole you up here. And I don't need to give everybody the whole me. Of course, this video is a lot of that, I guess. Well, I guess it's just telling you what I've done wrong. But you don't need to know everything about me, and that's okay. If there's a rumor about me, it doesn't have to like affect me so bad. They don't know who I am anyway. It's weird to me that 5 years ago, I was so affected by rumors that weren't true that I was like, don't hate me for something that's not even me. Hate me for something of like who I am. And then when I got hated for who I was like, oh shit, it was more fun to be hated for something that I wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
Canceled for authenticity.
So I want to talk to you about being canceled. If you're not in control of what you're putting out, you're more likely to get canceled. And this has everything to do with your rising sign. My camera cut out, so that's why this happened. Okay, so this has everything to do with your rising sign. When people start focusing more on the energy of their rising sign versus the energy of their midheaven, they lose credibility and they lose people's enjoyment of them, which leads to them being more likely to be canceled. And I've been canceled a couple times. There was 2 mobs that came after me. One I knew about was coming that had to do with Natalia Taylor. I had talked to her about it beforehand. We knew what was happening and that it would eventually go away, so I was kind of prepared for it. Another one was with 2 tarot girls on the internet who took a video that I did. I never mentioned their names, but then they mentioned mine, and their mobs came to me right when I started, which definitely hindered me a lot. Then also the end of 2020, I was going through a shit ton of stuff, and there was the election and people were like heightened, and I said stuff like, well, it doesn't really matter, and I got canceled for that. You know, and those are just when you like are losing thousands of followers and people are messaging you that you're disgusting and all this stuff, and you're like, wait, what did I say? You know, like, what did I do that was completely wrong? Like, how did I really torture you with anything that came out of my mouth? And the one thing that I realized what related to each one of the times that I got canceled was my rising sign. My rising is Pisces, and that is I believe. Whenever I start talking about a belief that I have, people don't like it because they see my beliefs as inherently selfish, because my first house is my selfish house. So when you're looking at me through the midheaven, it's being filtered through the midheaven, and my rising sign is becoming, it's looking weird. It's looking like something that the world doesn't need from me. So if I'm just like, well, I believe this, people are less likely to be like, oh, she just believes it, like, let her go, to,
Alyssa, you believe this and you're telling us this like it's fucking fact? You're a disgrace.
right? But then you could have somebody with a Pisces midheaven, like literally turn on the camera and start being like, I believe that twin flames are real. I believe this. I believe in manifestation, whatever. Even if they have nothing to back it up, and people are like,
Oh, yes, I love that. Good. Tell me more about that.
but for me, it wasn't the same. And I was starting to get really resentful of that because I was like, I am authentically just bringing myself out there. These are my beliefs. I believe. Pisces is I believe. Until I started to realize, looking at, say Katy Perry, when she started acting more like a Scorpio, because she's a Scorpio rising, people were really mad at her. They made fun of her. There was a lot of bad energy that was sent to Katy Perry's way when she began to act like her rising. Her album, Witness, which is a very Scorpio rising thing, I actually made a whole TikTok on it. You know, she flopped because people just thought she was being really selfish, like into herself, like unable to see the bigger picture because her midheaven was no longer where her focus was when she was meeting the world. It was her rising. And if your rising is where you are, this is who you are, like how you identify, it feels the most authentically you, but it doesn't mean that this isn't up here. It just means that this is you privately. The first house is a private house. The only people who see this in you are those who you meet face to face, who come to you, who talk to you, your friends, your family. Those people know. The world, when they see that, they think it looks like narcissism. They think you look bad. It's okay to start realizing this.
Understanding my own rising versus my midheaven.
We're going to get into this more in depth in each one of my videos, but my midheaven is I see, my rising is I believe. Sagittarius I see, rising I believe. My beliefs need to belong to me. The things that I see, those belong to the world. And so things like this video, this is based on what I've seen, my observations, my higher awareness, hindsight, wisdom. All of that is Sagittarius energy. And that's what you need from me. That's what you can take in. And I'm not saying that everybody had a problem with me being a Pisces rising, but I think that those people are people who are more close to me in a very friend-like way, in a way. You know, the parasocial relationship as well, because you're starting to get to know me and you're like, oh, it's just Alyssa, she's Pisces rising. But if this is my career, I can't be giving you my rising because I need to protect myself and my identity from scrutiny, especially because it's not going to be taken correctly anyway. It's always going to be misinterpreted and it's not going to be accepted. And it's a hard pill to swallow, and it's a huge ego thing to swallow as well. Because all I want to do is explain to people, you take this dumbass's belief over here, but you're not going to take my beliefs. My beliefs are more authentic than this dumbass's beliefs, you know, whatever. But like, it doesn't matter. So basically what we're getting is fighting for who I was after I changed my name when it wasn't working for me, changing my name, you know, having to really kind of realize what authentic looked like for me and what it looks like for you, and my own aesthetic, my own colors, my style, everything. The things that I like to be around versus what you want from me. So yeah, that is the whole story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I cannot wait for this series, so please stick around. This is going to be the greatest midheaven series that you've ever seen, and I'm not lying about that. And we're just gonna have fun. We're going back to 2015. So let's go back to 2015. I'll see you guys later. Bye.